Here is Expend 1, expanded to 600 words, no heading, following the same storyline and tone. The ward was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines and the occasional footsteps echoing through the hallway. Marina had barely drifted off after a night of contractions, tears, and exhaustion when the door flew open so forcefully that it slammed into the wall. Her mother-in-law, Valentina, marched inside with the confidence of someone who believed the world should rearrange itself when she walked into a room. Her eyes flicked briefly toward the newborn before focusing laser-sharp on Marina. "Get up," she commanded, as if Marina were a lazy schoolgirl instead of a woman who had given birth just hours earlier. "We're leaving immediately." Marina's heart began to race. She tried to sit up, gripping the edge of the bed as a wave of pain rippled through her abdomen. "But the doctor said I need at least another day." "The doctor," Valentina snapped, "doesn't pay your bills. My son does. And he doesn't need to waste money on this expensive hospital. You should have gone to the clinic near my house. Affordable. Practical. Not this luxury resort. Get up. I'll pack your things." Marina looked toward the bassinet where her newborn slept peacefully, unaware of the storm unfolding. A nurse entered the room, alarmed by the shouting, but Valentina's voice bulldozed right over hers. "I'm her family," she exclaimed. "I decide what's best." Marina felt herself shrinking, as she had so many times before. Her own parents had never shown much warmth, and after marrying her husband, she found herself replacing one cold home with another. She had thought motherhood would give her strength, but at that moment she felt like a child again, isolated, helpless, and voiceless. Wrong station, wrong life, wrong everything, she thought bitterly. She wanted to protect her baby, but she didn't know how to stand up to this woman who dominated every moment of her marriage. Valentina stepped toward the bassinet, ready to grab the baby. That was when a deep voice thundered from the doorway, completely unexpected and strangely familiar. "Excuse me," it said with calm authority, "but this is no way to treat a new mother." Everyone turned. Standing there, tall and composed, was none other than Patrick Stewart, his silver hair, sharp gaze, and unmistakable presence filling the room just as powerfully as any scene he commanded on screen. For a moment, everyone froze. The nurse's mouth fell open. Marina blinked twice, convinced that the exhaustion had triggered a vivid hallucination. He stepped fully into the room. "I was visiting a friend," he explained, and overheard raised voices. I couldn't ignore what I was hearing. Valentina, uncharacteristically speechless, tried to gather her fury. "This is a family matter," she insisted, though her voice faltered under his steady stare. Patrick shook his head gently. "A family matter or not, kindness and dignity are not optional. This woman," he said, gesturing to Marina, "has given birth today. She deserves peace and support, not pressure and scolding." The room fell silent. Something shifted inside Marina. It was as if his words had flipped a switch deep within her, a switch she didn't know she still had. For the first time in years, she felt her spine straighten, her voice settling into something firm. "I'm staying here," she said quietly but unmistakably. "And my baby stays with me. I need rest, not orders." Valentina stared at her, stunned. She had never heard Marina speak like that, not once. Later that evening, a news broadcast played across the hospital TV, showing Patrick Stewart walking off the set of Loose Women after Denise Welch's invasive questions pushed him too far. "Make it so, I'm leaving," he had said before calmly standing and exiting the stage. Marina watched in awe. The same strength he carried onto that show, he had carried into her hospital room. By morning, Valentina left without another word. Marina stayed, holding her baby close, finally stepping off the wrong train, and onto the right one. Here's Expend 2, expanded to 600 words, no heading, continuing the same story world but written as a fresh, full version without a heading. The sunlight filtered weakly through the thin hospital curtains, casting long stripes across the floor as Marina slowly brushed her fingers across her newborn's tiny hand. Her body felt heavy, fragile, stitched together not just physically but emotionally. She had imagined this moment differently, peaceful, warm, full of support, but reality had its own harsh shape. Her husband hadn't shown up. Her parents had called briefly, offering distant congratulations. And she thought the morning couldn't get any worse until she heard the sound of sharp heels clicking angrily down the hallway. The door burst open. Valentina, her mother-in-law, swept into the room like a gust of icy wind. Her presence instantly thickened the air. With a glare sharp enough to cut glass, she scanned the room, her expression full of judgment. "Get dressed," she said without greeting. "We're leaving." Marina's heart clenched. "Already? I'm not even cleared." "Nonsense," Valentina interrupted, waving her hand dismissively. "This hospital is draining money. My son works day and night while you lie here like a princess. We're going to the clinic near my place. More practical. More reasonable." She walked directly to Marina's bag and started packing without asking. The nurse entered hurriedly, drawn by the escalating tension. "Ma'am, she needs to rest. She had complications during delivery." Valentina didn't even look up. "These people always exaggerate. I've raised 2 children. I know better." She grabbed Marina's shoulder, trying to pull her upright. "Come on. Enough laziness." The humiliation burned through Marina. She wasn't lazy, she was exhausted, trembling, aching. But years of belittlement had trained her to stay quiet. To avoid conflict. To survive. She held her baby closer as silent tears slipped down her cheeks. Just then, a deep, unmistakably calm voice echoed from the hallway. "I don't believe that's how you should speak to her." The room froze. Standing at the door was Patrick Stewart, tall and steady, his presence somehow both gentle and commanding. Even without knowing his celebrity, anyone could feel the authority in his gaze. But knowing who he was, an icon of gravitas, dignity, and quiet strength, made the moment surreal. He stepped forward with measured confidence. "I was visiting someone down the hall and overheard the commotion. This woman," he gestured to Marina, "is recovering from childbirth. She needs care. She needs calm. She does not need to be dragged out of her bed because someone else is impatient." Valentina stood speechless for a full 2 seconds, an absolute rarity. Then she puffed herself up. "Sir, this is family business. I make decisions for my family." Patrick leaned slightly closer, not threatening, just resolute. "Respect is not optional. You may be family, but you don't own her." Marina felt her breath catch. Her lips trembled as she looked up at him. No one had defended her like that. Not once. Not ever. The nurse stood beside him now, emboldened. "She stays. That's final." Valentina sputtered, but no words came out. For once, she seemed smaller, deflated, stripped of the dominance she usually wielded so effortlessly. She snatched her purse and stormed out, muttering under her breath. Hours later, a buzz ran through the hospital corridors. On the TV mounted in the lobby, Patrick Stewart was seen on Loose Women, calmly standing and walking off set after Denise Welch pushed him into answering personal, intrusive questions. "Make it so, I'm leaving," he said, and the clip instantly went viral. When Marina watched the replay, she felt a deep sense of connection. The same courage he used to walk off that stage, he had lent to her in the moment she needed it most. That night, with her baby asleep in her arms and silence finally settling around her, Marina felt something new unfurl inside her, the understanding that she didn't have to accept mistreatment anymore. She could walk away, too, maybe not as dramatically, but with the same quiet resolve. For the first time in a very long time, she felt like her life might finally be shifting onto the right track. Here's Expend 3, expanded to 600 words, no heading, written as a full, independent version with the same storyline tone and emotional structure, without a heading. The quiet hum of the maternity ward was soothing, almost hypnotic, as Marina watched her baby sleeping in the bassinet. The tiny chest rose and fell with peaceful rhythm, a little miracle she still couldn't fully believe she had created. For a few precious minutes, she allowed herself to drift in that warmth, the softness of the blanket, the faint smell of milk, the innocence of new life. She wanted this moment to last forever. But peace never stayed long in Marina's world. The silence shattered when the door slammed open. Valentina, her mother-in-law, stormed in like a soldier entering battle. She didn't offer a greeting, didn't look at the baby, didn't ask how Marina felt. Her eyes were filled with irritation, as if Marina had personally offended her by giving birth in the wrong location. "You need to get up," Valentina announced loudly. "We're leaving immediately. This place is too expensive. Irresponsible, really. My son shouldn't be paying for this nonsense." Marina blinked in disbelief. "But, the doctor said I need to stay one more night." Valentina scoffed. "Doctors always say that. They want money. You're fine. Women have given birth for centuries without staying in fancy hospitals. She moved around the room briskly, grabbing Marina's bag and pushing items inside. Your husband agrees with me. We're going home. The nurse, hearing the raised voice, entered quickly. Ma'am, please stop. She can't be discharged yet. She lost a lot of blood during delivery. She's weak. Valentina waved her hand dismissively. Weak because she lies in bed like a queen. A little walking will do her good. She reached toward the bassinet. Give me the baby. We're leaving. Panic rose inside Marina like a scream trapped in her chest. She clutched the blanket, her heart pounding so loudly it drowned out everything. She wanted to shout, to defend herself, to protect her child, but her voice was buried under years of being silenced, by her cold parents, by her indifferent husband, and most of all by this woman who made her feel small every time they met. Just as Valentina reached for the baby, a calm but commanding voice came from the hallway. I would strongly advise against what you're doing. The room fell still. Patrick Stewart stood in the doorway, tall and composed, his presence impossibly steady. Even out of uniform, he radiated the same quiet authority he was famous for. Everyone recognized him instantly, but even without the fame, something about him made people listen. He stepped inside slowly. I heard shouting, he said kindly. And I couldn't ignore it. This mother needs rest, not pressure. And certainly not to be dragged out of the hospital against medical advice. Valentina's jaw dropped. She opened her mouth, but for once, no words came out. Patrick continued, his tone firm but never aggressive. Respect is a choice, and you seem to have forgotten it. She just gave birth. That alone demands compassion. The nurse exhaled with relief, standing boldly beside him now. She stays. Marina stared at Patrick, overwhelmed. A stranger, no, a celebrity, was standing up for her, defending her dignity when no one else ever had. Something inside her swelled, a strength she barely recognized. Valentina, embarrassed and furious, grabbed her purse and fled the room without another word. That evening, the hospital televisions replayed a clip of Patrick Stewart walking off the set of Loose Women after Denise Welch pushed him with invasive questions. His words echoed clearly, "Make it so, I'm leaving." Marina watched with awe as nurses whispered about the viral moment. And it struck her, the same courage he used on live television, he had given to her when she needed it most. She looked down at her sleeping newborn and felt something shift inside her. She didn't have to be silent anymore. She didn't have to bend to cruelty. She could walk away from what hurt her, too. For the first time in her life, she felt truly, quietly powerful.